All right, phlebotomists. So we're going to be talking about starting your phlebotomy business, but I want to talk to you guys about how it's been done for decades, okay? Before I was even born, okay? They've been doing the same exact system. So we're going to look at this and just understand how you're going to now be doing this for your own mobile phlebotomy business, okay? So first things first, right here is what we're going to look at. So you see these people right here? This right here is going to be your patients, okay? So we're going to call this right here traffic, okay? So right now you're working with a third-party laboratory, okay? And they're already seeing patients, okay? They're utilizing these patients for lab work services, for diagnostics testing, etc., right? So these patients already have relationships with the doctor, the laboratory, so they pretty much know and have relationships with this organization already, okay? So usually this type of traffic is going to go directly to the laboratory, okay? So this is the lab. All right, so the laboratory, the third-party lab, is going to do what's called dispatching of a kit. So here's a kit right here, so you can see I have a visual. So these kits are going to be sent to these patients' homes so that they can actually be drawn by a phlebotomist, and then these kits will be sent over to the patient's laboratory or doctor for the results in diagnostics testing, okay? So right here in this workflow, we're gonna have the traffic happen. So they're going to need lab work services. They're going to contact their laboratory that they're partnered with, okay? And then what happens now, phlebotomists, which is super important, these laboratories are going to contact us for lab work services, okay? So these labs aren't doing the actual blood draws. They're contacting phlebotomists to do the draw. So they'll either call or they'll email, right? And these are usually like their site coordinators. So they'll usually either call them the coordinators or the account manager for that specific site or area. So they all have like different names for their position, but these labs will have traffic coming in or their patients coming in for lab work services, and they will call, email, or even text us for lab work services for their patients, okay? So now, once we get the call and we confirm and say, yes, we'll do the blood draw, we'll do the collection, what happens next is we then are going to go out there. So this is us, this is the Phlebs, okay? Now, we, the Phlebs, are going to say, okay, great. We'll go out there, we'll do the draw, and we'll actually collect that specimen. So we're confirming that patient appointment. So now what we'll do is we'll actually call that patient, right? So we'll confirm the appointment. Hey, Mr. Bob, we'll be there at 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, just so we can have a window, just in case there's traffic or there's an emergency, a tire, whatever, okay? But we're gonna contact that patient and then confirm that patient appointment at this point, right? So you see how this is working? So already we can cut the middleman out with our mobile phlebotomy business services, okay? Because listen, these laboratories need us for the actual blood draws, right? So had they not called us, we wouldn't get the services, but they wouldn't also get the specimens. So it's a situation to where how can we cut the middleman out so that we can do the actual collections and get paid more for our blood draws, okay? So now what happens when we confirm that patient appointment, we're gonna go to that patient appointment. Of course, we're gonna get in our car, have all of our equipment, we confirm the appointment. We're gonna do the collection, collect the sample, whether it's a blood sample or a urine collection, whatever it is. And then we're gonna go to a UPS or FedEx, right? So UPS or FedEx location, right? So that we can do the drop off, okay? So usually you can either go to the UPS or FedEx location for a drop off, or you can actually go to like a Walgreens, depending if they are doing UPS or FedEx, but there's so many different options as far as like a drop off, but you have to make sure that they're either UPS or FedEx or the laboratory, depending on how far it is. So depending on the logistics of the laboratory, you know, it'll just all fluctuate and depend, okay? And then obviously at the very end, you will then get paid from the lab, okay? So the lab will pay you. So the lab will pay you the money for the collection. The ranges for the lab collections ranges between $50 to about $150 for these third-party laboratories. So what we're wanting to do now with our mobile phlebotomy business is cut this middleman out, okay? So we wanna chop them off right here so that we're able to have this traffic come directly to our phone calls, okay? So that we're able to call our phlebotomist to do those collections, and then our phlebotomist actually schedules those appointments, and our phlebotomist does the actual draws, and then our phlebotomist do the collection and then drops it off to UPS, and then we pay them out for the actual collection. Okay. So we're now not utilizing the laboratory because we can partner with other laboratories that allows us to create panels for our patients. And then so when we market our services to our customers, our patients are seeing our content and now they're saying, oh, I want to get this lab service because they're talking about something I care about, right? So if they have anemia, if they have heart problems, if they have cancer, and we're offering these lab tests that they actually care about, now they're interested in getting services directly from us, okay? So they're not going to a laboratory, they're going to us, our funnel, our website, right? So then when they make purchase, we can now send that lab specimen to our laboratory partners that allows us to create lab panels for our patients, okay? So this is the old way, all right? So we've been doing this for years, okay, y'all? We've been doing this for decades. But I want you guys to look at how the new way is, okay? And if you guys want, I actually have some free templates too. Just comment the word school so you can have access to my school platform, so you can just get more information on understanding the workflow and just getting your business started. Okay, it's a completely free community, but you can definitely get a lot of gems from that. So that was the old way. We're gonna label this old way. All right, so this is the old way. All right. So now let's talk about the new way on how phlebotomists are generating 6 figures with their mobile phlebotomy business, okay? So right here is a workflow. I know it looks like a lot, but I'm going to break it down so that it all makes sense, okay? So first things first, we're gonna look over here. I'm gonna change the color. Let's do blue, okay? So we're going to look over here, and now we're looking at patient traffic again, right? But the patient traffic is coming from social media, right? The comment section or either DMs, okay? And now we're giving them what's called a lead magnet or a power offer or just a freebie so that they can actually build trust with us, okay? So we're giving them facts, value, knowledge that is related to the disease that they care about. So now when they get that free thing, now they're all like, oh my gosh, I'm curious to want to learn more, curious to get this lab test. Again, people are going to judge you based off of your free stuff. So if your free stuff is really good, they can expect your service to be excellent, okay? So now when they get that freebie, they're going to then opt in on your page. So the opt-in page is going to be where we collect their actual email, right? Their names, and then sometimes even the patient's telephone number, okay? So we're getting their contact information in exchange for this free thing we want to give to our customers and our patients. Once they opt in, we now have them in our email list. So now we're able to send them out promotions, emails, different coupons, and depending where this person is on your actual funnel, you can now have a sequence, okay, to nurture them. So you'll have this happen. It's a little bit more advanced, but just so you can understand. So let's just say they were to come onto your opt-in page, but they didn't move forward to see your core offer. What happens is we're now able to have what's called how can I put it? So Facebook pretty much tracks the people that comes to your page, but don't follow through with seeing your other content. So they're pretty much tagged as a person that didn't see my core offer or did not, make a purchase on my core offer. So what we will do is send out email reminders or email messages to those specific people so that we're able to retarget them with ads or emails so that they can actually come and see our actual core offer, okay? Because some people get distracted. Phone calls come in, kids come and distract them, so they may click off that page. But we're able to now have them in our email sequence to where we can actually send them out different emails to remind them, hey, if you want to get this lipid panel, you can, sign up with this phlebotomy service or whatever, right? But you're doing this because this person or this customer came to your page, okay? They opted in, but they didn't follow through because they may have gotten distracted or a phone call came in or kids maybe, distracted them from moving forward. So now let's just say this person actually wants to get your lipid panel, okay? Let's just say you're working on cardiovascular patients and you're focusing on them because you had a person that you were really close to that may have passed away from a stroke, okay? So now the actual audience who is watching your VSL, which is your video sales letter, and they're seeing everything that you're offering, you're talking about, and now they're wanting this lipid panel, okay? So we're gonna write down lipid panel. And everything that's in the lipid panel is, LDL, HDL, VLDL, total cholesterol, triglycerides. So all these things are in this lipid panel. And now, because these things are in this lipid panel and this person wants it, now we're going to have them shown a OB. And the OB is going to be called an order bump, okay? So there's 2 of them here. So we don't have to just get paid from a simple blood draw phlebotomist. So let's just say this lipid panel costs this specific customer $150, okay? So if they say, yes, I want to move forward, I'm going to pay for this service $150. Now what we can do is have an order bump to where we can have an offer to where we can say, hey, if you're a heart stick patient, we offer a vein finder for an additional $25. You see how that worked? So now you're making a $175 sale, okay? Because you may have the vein finder that you invested into as an option for your patients to get drawn if they are heart stick patients, right? So you can do another one where you can actually offer such as pit vein finder. So vein finder could be an upsell, okay, or order bump. Vein finder, all right, so that's an additional $25. And let's just say we have numbing wipes, okay, so that you can make the experience a little bit more pain-free for patients who are afraid of needles. So that's like an additional, let's just say $10, okay? So we got numbing wipes, and this can be another order bump, so that could be an additional $10, okay? But you're seeing how we can add on more value to our services to make more profit with our phlebotomy services, right? So now, once this person goes through our funnel, okay, we're going to offer them other things. So let's just say they got the vein finder and they got the numbing wipes. The next thing we can offer them is like a bundle. So now we can have the CRP high sensitivity additional to the lipid panel because it all complements each other, right? So now we can check inflammation in this person's blood. And then we can offer the homocysteine, okay? So all of these are going to be called upsells, okay? So you can upsell this package to where if a person wants to get all of these things, and let's just say you bundled them to, let's just say, I don't know, $350, okay? That was the upsell for all of the lab tests, $350. But let's just say they can't afford the $350. You can do what's called a downsell. So you can let this person or this customer or patient know, hey, we really care about you and your health, and we really want you to get this test done so that you can know what's going on with your body. So we're going to take the $350 and we're going to give this to you for $199, right? So that's a downsell. So now that person is looking like, oh my gosh, like I'm saving money. You know, I want to buy this now. So now they're jumping in to get this specific downsell. So now you were able to close more of a sale now. You see how this works? So now we're going to have this person or this customer then schedule a lab draw appointment, and then we're going to have them come to our thank you page. And then from here, you're going to have this patient get email, text confirmation. You're going to have the appointment reminder 24 hours before the actual blood draw, 2 hours before the blood draw, then 15 minutes before the blood draw, just to make sure that they're on time, that they're actually at the appointment. And then we also do post follow-up. So after the blood draw, how was your experience? Maybe a day later, how are you feeling after the blood draw? Are you feeling dizzy? Are you feeling weak? Are you feeling, A-okay? And then if you have a laboratory that you're partnered with, obviously you can have a link sent to that specific patient so they can actually get the results. But that's only if you're partnered with a laboratory that, obviously gives them the results, okay? And then obviously over here would be the last portion and a little bit advanced, like I said. So this portion is going to be for people that may have not bought a specific upsell. So we'll be able to tag them as a customer that didn't buy. So for instance, let's just say we had a person come through and buy our lipid panel, but they did not buy our actual CRP high sensitivity or our homocysteine test, right? So now what we can do is tag them as a lipid panel. So they just bought the lipid panel. So those two other tests, we can have them tagged so that we can send out email promotions just for those two tests until that patient buys one of those two tests. So now once they see the email promotions and the marketing for these two tests that they did not buy, until they do buy, they'll just be tagged as the lipid panel. But once they actually, say, hey, I want to get this lab service for, I don't know, the homocysteine test, and they pay for it, now we tag them as the lipid panel and the homocysteine. So now all we need to do is market to them is the CRP high sensitivity test, okay? So this is the new way phlebotomists on how phlebotomists are making six figures with their mobile phlebotomy business and are not depending on just one blood draw to actually profit with this business model, okay? So again, this is the old way of how we did things, all right? And this is going to be the new way on how we execute this business model to make six figures with their mobile phlebotomy business. And I'll see you guys in the school platform.